Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into the world of generative AI video.
That's right. We've got a stack of sources looking at these new tools.
And our mission is basically to figure out how these things actually, fit into an advertiser's real workflow. We want to help you get up to speed fast.
Exactly. We looked at the big five people are talking about. OpenAI's Sora, Google's VO, Runway Gen-2 and Gen-4, Pika Labs, and Luma AI's Dream Machine.
Quite a list. Each one seems to have its own, special thing.
Definitely. They all bring something different, but they also have limits, especially when you think about making actual ads.
Okay, let's unpack Sora first. The sources really hammer home its strength in understanding, well, plain English prompts.
Yeah, that GPT integration is key. It means you can give it pretty nuanced creative direction without needing complex commands.
So what does that mean practically for an ad agency?
Well, it means you can test out a bunch of different creative ideas super fast. Just describe what you want. Sources say it really helps in the early stages, makes visual concepting more accessible.
And it has editing features too. I saw Remix and Storyboard mentioned.
Yeah, those are integrated. Remix
Mhm.
lets you blend generations. Storyboard helps build sequences. Useful stuff, for sure.
But there's always a but, isn't there? What's the main limitation for actual ad production?
Clip length is the big one right now. Max, maybe 20 seconds. And crucially, no audio output.
Ah, okay. So not for the final polished ad then.
Probably not for long-form stuff, no.
Mm.
Much better for rapid prototyping, throwing visual ideas around, maybe making quick animatics or storyboards, getting past that initial blank page.
Got it. Fast concepts, maybe not the final cut. Okay, moving on. Google DeepMind's VO. This sounds like it's aiming higher.
Yeah, the sources really push its realism
Hmm.
and significantly longer clips. We're talking potentially 60 seconds, maybe more.
60 seconds. And at higher resolutions too, like 4K.
That's what the sources indicate.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets really interesting for production potential.
Because?
Because VO actually integrates audio generation, dialogue, sound effects, music, all synced up.
Wow, okay. That's a big step.
It is. And it apparently offers more fine-grained control, too. Things like directing character actions, puppeteering, they call it, and setting precise camera paths with its flow interface.
Sounds powerful. What's the trade-off then? There must be one.
Accessibility seems to be the main thing. Sources mention it's often part of a higher-cost Google AI subscription.
Right. And maybe a steeper learning curve with all those controls.
Probably, yeah. So great potential for high-end production, complex stories maybe, but perhaps less accessible for just quick everyday tasks.
Makes sense. Okay, next. Runway, Gen 2 and Gen 4. Sources describe this as more of a whole platform.
Yeah, less just a generator, more like a creative suite with an editor built in.
And specific features stood out.
That multi-motion brush gets mentioned a lot. It lets you basically paint onto the video to direct where the movement should happen. Pretty neat.
Oh, I see. So you can guide specific parts of the scene.
Exactly. And it handled different aspect ratios easily, like vertical for social media. Very practical.
And it's out there, commercially available.
Yes, which is a big plus, but again, limitations. Shorter clips, like maybe 10 seconds max natively.
And resolution.
Sources say around 720p native, though they do offer upscaling options. And like Sora, no built-in audio generation.
So accessible, good for controlling motion, but maybe more of a helper tool, like mixing AI stuff with real footage.
That seems to be a common use case, yeah.
Yeah.
Enhancing workflows rather than replacing them entirely.
Okay. Then there's Pika Labs, often called the mid-journey of video.
Yeah, that comparison comes up. The focus is definitely on being easy to use, very straightforward.
Sources mention smooth camera presets and that it grew out of a Discord community. Sounds approachable.
Very. But the trade-off there is usually complexity and realism. Meaning the clips are very short, often just around 5 seconds. And sources say it can sometimes struggle with keeping things looking photorealistic or maintaining continuity if the scene is complex.
So not for long, realistic stories then.
Probably not its strong suit. But it's great for really quick, stylized clips for social media or whipping up concept art fast, speed and style over realism. Still no audio, though.
Right, no audio seems common. Okay, last one. Luma AI's Dream Machine. What's its unique angle according to the sources?
Its foundation seems to be a really strong understanding of 3D space.
And what does that give you?
Really convincing, realistic camera movements. Things like natural parallax, where closer things move faster as the camera pans, and environments just feel more solid, more consistent within the shot.
Interesting. And it's on mobile too, an iOS app.
Yeah, that's a unique point. Plus, sources say it can work with 3D captures made with their other app, which builds 3D scenes from photos.
That sounds potentially really useful for, say, product demos or visualizing real spaces.
Definitely. But again, limitations. Sources suggest it can sometimes struggle with complicated character movements, and maybe fewer manual controls right now compared to VO.
So great for those realistic environment shots, product visuals, maybe less for complex action scenes.
Seems to be the niche, yeah. And, you guessed it, no native audio.
Okay, so we've got these 5 tools, all different strengths, different weaknesses. How do they actually fit together in an ad agency's workflow? It doesn't sound like one replaces everything.
No, definitely not. Sources really paint a picture of complementarity. You'd use different tools for different stages.
Like Sora, Runway, maybe Pika for that early stage. Quick ideas, concepting.
Exactly. Rapid iteration, getting lots of visuals out there for pitches or internal reviews, pre-production stuff.
And Luma with its 3D strength.
Maybe more for pre-visualization, especially for realistic environments or getting those tricky product shots looking right.
Which leaves VO potentially stepping into actual production.
Potentially, yeah. For those longer, higher fidelity sequences, maybe stuff that's hard or expensive to film traditionally. Its length, realism, and especially that integrated audio make it a contender there.
So an agency might, like, use Pika for a quick social concept, then Sora to storyboard a bigger idea, and maybe bring in VO or Runway for specific shots later?
That's the kind of mix and match workflow sources suggest. It's about speed, trying things you couldn't before, and finding new visual approaches within budget and time limits.
Which brings us to the wrap-up. These tools are clearly evolving incredibly fast, getting better, adding features like audio.
The pace is really something.
So the final thought to leave you with, given how quickly this is all changing, what completely new kinds of visual stories are going to become normal in advertising next year? Things we can't even really picture today. Definitely something to keep an eye on.